No,
NVIDIA's AI upscaling is a lot better than
the DLSS.
than in AMD's or Sony's.
You're saying the DLSS is better than the Pisser?
It's way better than the Pisser.
Quentin here. I'm fine, babe.
This is Ethan. Nah, I'm gonna go. Don't worry, Devin's here. This is time. Let's rock and roll!
Welcome to the Power Brothers podcast, where we can't find half the members and our points don't matter.
Yeah. Now featuring fewer brothers than ever.
Yeah.
And one extra female.
I know. Rachel's on the couch.
Hello.
Yeah.
I was over there, and now I'm here.
Yeah.
I was going to say Power Brothers and sister, but she's only my sister.
She's your sister-in-law.
It'd be weird if she was your sister.
It'd be very weird if I was your sister.
Yeah.
Listen, in Kentucky. No, I'm kidding.
We're from Alabama originally.
Yeah, no. Guys, welcome to the podcast. I'm glad some of us could be here.
I'm glad some of us could be here. It's good. There's illness going around.
There is.
Wash your hands, guys.
Some of the body and some of the mind.
Yeah. Well, that's always, the latter is always going
always
around.
here.
The former
Yeah.
is, Be safe out there, guys. Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Wash other people's hands.
Don't do that. That's what we're trying to
If
avoid.
you see
disease.
somebody in the bathroom, go up and wash their hands.
Tackle
for
them. Wash their hands.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Chemical wash.
Go over into the sink and just rub their hands.
We're
Make
gonna
sure they
get so
make
sued.
sure it gets clean.
Our YouTube video is going to get flagged by the NIH.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
this
do not
contains
follow.
questionable content. Yeah.
But on the other hand, everyone who would normally be going over the Joe Rogan podcast might get diverted.
Oh yeah, maybe we can get some of that
True.
Joe Rogan viewership. Random facts.
No,
Rachel, how's
no
it feel?
No Joe Roganite would ever wash their hands. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh dang. How's it feel to be on the couch, hon?
It feels very comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm usually over there on a hard wood back folding chair. My millennial spine is just crying out. in
We're not good
agony.
to our producers, is what you're trying to
No.
say. Get in the corner
Get
Which-
in the corner.
in your wooden
Shut
chair.
up.
Which is why we need you guys to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah,
so
please
I can
do.
afford a chair with a cushion on it.
Please
Yeah.
do. Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
Rachel, that normally goes right after the bumper for the news.
That's right.
Guys,
It happened.
I'm just going to say it, okay? There's too many Switch 2 leaks.
Yeah.
Every day it's like, oh, Switch 2 leak. Oh, new Switch 2 leak.
Now the hardware.
Yeah.
Now we've got the hardware. Geikie, the company is now like saying,
Genki?
yeah, we're just going to show it on January the 7th. They're like,
Yeah.
we're going to take questions about Switch 2 January 7th. And it's like, I think Nintendo's plan is to have these on store shelves before they announce it.
I think so.
It's kind of genius.
It's kind of genius.
It's the ultimate
You'll
anti-scalper.
just walk into a Best Buy one day and it'll be like a Switch 2.
It'll look like just a knockoff Chinese console, and you'll be like, "What is this thing?" And it's called like the Bro, and you're like, "I guess I'll get it for the kids." And you take it home, and it's an incredible.
It's the Switch
NVIDIA
2.
power.
Yeah.
Switch too, yeah.
So, one of the leaks we'll talk about. I'm very sorry, viewers. This is what it is in January,
Yeah.
or maybe we're reacting really early, and you guys already know about the Switch 2.
We won't do this again for another 7 years,
Yes,
possibly 10.
Just bear with us. No, a leak suggests AI upscaling. That was from
It's the least surprising thing I've ever heard. In my
from
life.
IGN. There's a leak that suggests that it will use AI upscaling.
You know who else is using AI upscaling?
everyone.
Everyone,
Yeah.
everywhere, all the time.
Yeah, everyone all at once in all places. No, I think
NVIDIA's AI upscaling is a lot better than
the DLSS.
than in AMD's or Sony's.
You're saying the DLSS is better than the Pisser?
It's way better than the Pisser.
That's
No.
impossible.
It's impossible.
How could that be?
It is funny that like so AMD's FSR tech works on anything,
Mhm.
and there's now a competitor. I believe it's Intel's version called XESS,
Okay.
and that also works on anything. But DLSS, of course, is proprietary because there is hardware in NVIDIA's cards that is a little bit different kind of a computer core
Sure.
CPUs that are just better at the kind of predictive algorithms that AI uses, and so only DLSS can use them. It only works on NVIDIA cards, and you at first might think that this is just a way of NVIDIA locking their stuff down to their cards until you like use it. I switched one game from AMD's FSR to DLSS and ended up playing a different game.
Oh no.
It was so different.
It was so different.
Yeah.
Now, for someone who doesn't super understand how that would be applied, I'm assuming they don't upscale like new releases. They upscale old games?
No,
No,
brand new
all of it,
releases.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So basically, like it'll take an image that is rendered at a much lower resolution, and upscale it to whatever resolution your TV is. So if your computer isn't quite powerful enough to run the Marvel Rivals at 4K, but it can run it at the resolution of the Nintendo Switch, which is 720. It can render it at that, and then DLSS goes and renders it up to 4K, and it looks absolutely incredible
That's
for
pretty cool.
DLSS. It's really amazing technology.
It's, I mean, at its core, it's what you would define as like an optical illusion.
It is.
Yeah, like if you were to put it in like old movie terms, if they needed like a castle in the background, instead of doing all the work it would take to build that castle, they would do like a glass frame and then paint the castle and make it look like it was sitting up on the hill.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just because that's easier and it tricks the eye into thinking
It's
that,
so hard to tell the difference
Yeah.
for me looking at native versus DLSS upscale.
It's playing off of the human eye.
Yeah.
It's playing off of the fact that you can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
And so,
Especially when something's moving.
yeah. So it's not rendered at 4K.
No.
It's just
It
that
doesn't have to be.
it's just that it's using an algorithm to make it look like it's
It
4K.
kind of looks at it's like you looking at a picture and then redrawing it bigger from like the image.
Yeah.
That's what it's doing. It's taking the image that the console created, and then the AI part is where it redraws it just at a much higher level, and it's pretty cool.
Something AI
technology.
is actually good for.
They're
like, a
actually
good use.
exactly.
using it. When you use it responsibly, it can do some incredible things.
It's pretty incredible to see like AI being used for like what it's actually supposed to be used, which is like a human does this and then AI can just sit there doing it a bunch of times
Yeah, sure.
and like won't get tired. Like if you had a human who literally had to redraw everything constantly, he would slow down. He has all those limitations of being human.
It's tedious.
It's tedious.
Tedious.
AI is able to just do it really quickly and do it constantly, which is what AI is supposed to be doing, not generating new things.
It's a tractor. It's not a farmer.
Yeah, that's a really good
very
way
well
of
said.
Yeah.
very well said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a new leak suggests that it's going to have
Okay.
a form of DLSS. Let's hope they have a better name than the pisser.
I'm pretty
I
sure
don't
it's
think
going to be
that's
called DLSS.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
The dulce.
The Dulce. Now this one's really exciting. This is from Game Rant, and it's probably not true. A leaker. God, I'm tired of these people. Called Samus Hunter 2.
A very unreliable leaker.
I say she because they use Samus
Samus.
as their, so
But it's definitely a guy.
it's definitely a dude, but she has correctly predicted a few things like Xenoblade X. She got real specific with
A lot of people think she's been around for many years and kind of known as a really bad leaker, but a lot of people think she got a source recently because she started getting stuff right for the first time in many years.
So she has this one. If she's right about this one, she definitely has a source because this is bold and very relevant to this podcast. Supposedly, there's a remake coming of a beloved Star Fox game.
Yeah.
Star Fox Adventures.
Hot dog.
Now, if you're a big Star Fox fan, you know that the odds of Star Fox Adventures being remade is pretty low.
Pretty much zero.
Pretty
Is
much
that the good
zero.
one or the bad one?
I
You guys
like
kept
it.
referencing?
I like Star Fox Adventures, but it's not really a Star Fox game.
Okay.
It was originally developed as Dinosaur Planet by Rare.
So it was the good one that you guys were talking about.
I mean,
You guys
Quentin
did-
hates it.
You guys
Quentin
did a deep
hates it.
dive, and then you
Yeah.
kept referencing a game that was terrible and we're not going to talk about.
That's Command
That's
for
Command,
the
and
DS.
that, no one will ever
no.
remake that.
Okay, so this is the good.
They
the
wouldn't
good stuff.
dare.
Yeah, I really like Adventures. It's just that
I'm a fan.
after no Star Fox for like a really long time.
Yeah.
I doubt Nintendo would want to revitalize it with a game that's outside, like a spin-off. You know what I mean?
You would think that, but then again, Metroid Prime Federation Force exists.
That's a good point. No,
So,
so this
maybe they
leaker
haven't
could be
learned.
right. She could be telling the truth. A lot of people, I think in the article it mentions that other leakers have suggested that a new Star Fox game is coming.
Oh, okay.
And so could be crossed wires. She just heard it was a remake and went with the one that she thought made the most sense, which was Star Fox Adventures, I guess, for some reason.
She went with the one that made the least
amount of sense. So yeah, maybe a new Star Fox game on the horizon.
Maybe a sequel to Star Fox Adventures. Think about that.
Guys, we could put Star Fox in our thumbnail and it would be relevant.
And
That's crazy.
People would know what all of our stuff is. They would finally
Yes,
understand
if
That
that
the
happens.
aesthetic.
We brought Star Fox back
Yes, we brought it
officially.
back.
All right,
We've
It
been
was
saying
us.
since way back in September that we were trying to bring back Star Fox.
Yeah, we did it.
We
And we did it.
single-handedly
and if it
did
doesn't
it.
happen, it's all our fault.
And it's all our
It
fault.
was because of all the clout we have in the gaming industry.
Obviously,
our 64
I called up
Yeah.
subscribers.
Shiggy Momo
Yeah.
and said, "Shiggy,
Shiggy Momo.
we need some Star Fox."
Yeah, if you want to see more Star Fox, subscribe.
Subscribe.
We're so close to 100.
I
Help us
know.
get there.
Yeah.
Right there.
I don't have analytics, but this many people don't subscribe to that. You
He's
see
not gonna
YouTubers
a
do
graphic.
that.
He's
They're
not going to do
like,
that graphic.
every time a YouTuber is like, "Oh, this percentage of my people
People
don't
are
subscribe."
subscribed. It's a totally arbitrary number, and I have no way of verifying if it's
Yeah,
real.
I'm like, I don't. What if I don't believe you?
Yeah, I don't
Like,
trust you.
Yeah, I'll subscribe to
But
your channel,
but most of the time,
don't-
I'm not subscribed, and I
Yeah,
am watching the channel.
That's
so,
a good point.
It's true.
You know,
Maybe they're on to something there.
just don't subscribe. I don't hand out my subscriptions cheaply.
No,
You got to really work for it. You got to really
don't like
want
that
it,
you
guys.
said that. But yeah,
So interesting stuff. I'm looking forward to the day when we can talk about leaks for video games and not hardware.
I know, yeah.
Because most of the leaks are like, we saw a chip and it looks exactly like every other
Other
chip
chip.
you've ever
Nathaniel
seen.
Bandy had a
Yeah.
really funny short I just watched today about what leakers are like, and it starts back in 2020 with the Switch Pro.
Yeah.
And then he just keeps ramping up until finally he gets to January, and they're just like, they're just dead inside, and they're because it's the leaks about a Switch Pro. Turns out they were wrong.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know, leaks just at this point it's so out of hand because it just and the truth is like we're kind of adding to it in the sense that
Oh, we're throwing fuel all
Absolutely.
over that.
we're looking
fire.
at it. That's the
for the
big thing.
clicks.
Yeah, for
the
all the
engagement.
clicks.
The eyeballs.
No, but there is something to be said about people looking at something. If it has people's attention,
Of course,
it
we're
doesn't
gonna talk about.
It's not completely without value. Like
No,
people
yeah.
want to know what these things are. I'm sure Nintendo loves it that everybody's trying to figure out
It's
what
free
they're doing.
advertising.
It's free advertising. I'm
Yeah.
sure they don't like it when people actually get it and
Sure.
have it in their hand and take pictures of it before they've revealed it.
How crazy would it be
It's,
though?
Actually,
it's free
it is
Three
still free
idiots in a room sitting
advertising.
here talking about it
Yeah.
for free.
That's
Two
a good
idiots.
point.
Oh, thanks, babe.
That's a good point.
Yeah. No, we'll talk about something that's not a leak.
Okay.
I thought it was a leak
You
until
thought it
about
was a
5
leak
minutes
until
ago.
like 5 seconds ago when I said, no, that was on Twitter.
Yeah, Marvel Rivals announced 4 new heroes, specifically 4 because it's the Fantastic Four.
It is.
Yeah.
Final four.
A lot of them had kind of been leaked. Marvel Rivals is leaking like my
Yeah,
sink, but
Yeah.
the Fantastic Four looks like all of them. Maybe Herbie, surely not Herbie.
Herbie.
No, Herbie not.
Herbie's their little robot. You wouldn't know that.
I wouldn't know that.
because he
No.
never made the films, which is why they suck.
To be fair though,
Um,
Jeff the Shark didn't make it in any films and he's in it. So
And he's awesome.
Well, yeah.
Objectively.
yeah.
That's a good point.
They've been doing pretty good about like including comic book characters, not just doing the big movie people.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Like
So
like
far,
Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel
Never
Girl,
would have heard of
love
her
it.
until
Um,
Marvels.
Jeff
Or
the
have,
Shark.
have Cloak and Dagger been in a
They had a
movie?
TV series on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah, and it I can remember it flawlessly.
I'd say you
so-
definitely remember that, don't you? Yeah,
No.
like Magic was in New Mutants, also on Hulu.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think most of the characters in the game have been in other media some which way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like,
but they're not just the popular ones.
no, it's not deep cuts. They're not doing like a character no one's ever heard of. They want it to be, because I think I understand from the perspective of like fans. There's a lot of fans of the Fantastic Four. There's a lot of fans of Captain
There's
America
also a
and
movie
Thor.
coming out.
Yeah, there's a movie coming
Synergy.
Again?
Synergy.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal.
If you've missed twice, just
Yeah,
try
keep
again.
Keep trying.
Okay.
Just keep trying.
Put Pedro Pascal in it.
To be fair, you
Can't
put
fail.
that man
To be
in
fair.
anything, and
Yeah.
Can't fail.
women will flock to
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
theaters.
Yeah,
Women
it's
and
true.
gays
It's
will
true.
flock to the theaters.
The lady who's in it played in The Crown. The Invisible Woman is being played by
Margaret Thatcher.
nope.
From the
You remember the
dead.
season where they're like young?
Yeah. Who does she play?
The sister of the queen who smokes a lot and has a
Oh,
terrible
yeah.
life.
Yeah.
She's gonna play
Okay.
Invisible Woman. They saw that role and they were like, "Yeah,
We are not pausing this podcast to Google a freaking name.
It's popped up
No.
right here.
All right.
Yeah, Rachel.
We're
Yeah,
not
she'll
doing
tell
it.
us.
I
I think it's safe to say we're all three of us are Marvel Rivals fans.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
It's
We got a good
it's
little
weirdly
team.
addictive.
Yeah.
It's less sweaty than a
More
lot of the
arcadey,
others. It's
yeah.
very arcadey. I'm good at it somehow.
You're
Same.
very good at it.
Um,
Yeah.
You're very good at it.
When we got a full stack the other day, it was just
So much
magic.
fun.
It was so
Even-
fun having a full stack that like when I went back to just playing by myself, I was like,
Infuriating.
I didn't want to play it. Yeah, I didn't want to play it.
Infuriating.
I was
You
telling a
wanted to-
friend, she was like, "Why should I play this game? Like, sell it to me."
Yeah.
And I realized what I think makes it so fun, at least for someone like me who's not super good at video games in general. It's balanced enough to where I feel like I can make a contribution to my
Mhm.
team. I don't feel like dead weight.
Yeah.
But I also don't feel like there are like characters that I just can't do anything against. I don't feel like anyone is just completely OP and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
unstoppable. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really fun.
They're trying. They seem to be trying to balance it around soft counters rather than hard counters. Like in a game where you have a hard counter, it's like if I play this character, you have to switch to this character,
Yeah,
and then I have to switch to another character.
which is
And
annoying.
Just
it-
makes it,
It makes it very high skill, but also like it makes it very hard to like learn to play because you
Sure.
have to be good at every character. And
Yeah.
for the most part,
Yeah.
Rivals seems to be trying not to do that. They haven't always succeeded.
No.
If somebody who actually knows how to play Hawkeye shows up, you're just done. If you're
It's over.
Oh my
playing
God.
certain
Forget about it.
characters,
Yeah,
The amount of times I've just gotten one-shotted by full health. Just,
yeah, it's
he doesn't really have to hit you. He
He
just has to get
feels-
near.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
playing horseshoes. Like if he gets near you,
you're dead.
you're dead.
dead.
He got
And
it.
so-
Might as well.
They've got some work to do on that end.
Sure.
But with a roster as big as they managed to
Mhm.
get it before launching,
Yeah.
they've
and it's
done a good job.
100% free game.
And it is
Yeah.
100% free.
If you want a costume, you're gonna pay a lot of money
A lot,
for it.
but there's no loot
but
box.
There's no loot box,
Not yet.
and the game is
the costumes
free.
are purely aesthetic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They don't give you any special abilities.
It's why
Some
I
of
like.
them do help you hide, though.
Oh, do they?
I will say that
They're just
I-
the same color as the environment.
I play a
so-
lot of Captain America, and if I see that I'm on Asgard, I'll switch to Gladiator because you just sort of look like the
Yeah.
same colors as the background.
Yeah.
But that's almost any game.
There's even an
Like-
emote as Iron Man where he kind of like sits down and lays back, and its profile is much smaller. So
Yeah.
if you do the emote, you hide in a corner, basically.
Planking. in
Those are all
Marvel
things.
Rivals.
Yeah. Planking.
But
No, yeah. So
No,
we're Rivals
I'm a
fans. We're
fan.
excited. Season 1 supposedly will start around the time this episode goes up.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this, go. That's why I like free games. Just go play it.
Go play
if you don't believe us, if you think it's actually bad, go play it.
There's
and
no downside to
Yeah.
playing
if
this
you
game.
play it and you like it, come back here, give us a like too. If you
Yeah.
play it and you don't like it, come back here and comment on the video and tell us that
Tell
you
us why
didn't
you don't
like
like it.
Rivals,
Yeah.
but you are still going to give our video a like
Explicitly.
A comment
and a like.
and a like. Just like the
Bartering
video
with-
for God, please.
Please, we're begging you.
Another rumor about the Switch 2
Okay.
because we got to stagger them. I'm
We
trying
gotta-
to
you gotta
add
stagger
stuff in
'em out,
between.
yeah.
Pause for breath in between the Switch 2 rumors.
Yeah.
This is mind blowing. This is definitely a leak. He definitely has inside information. The game will launch with a new 3D Mario game.
The game or the console?
What did I say?
You said the game.
No one can tell anymore.
It's fine.
No, the console. Yeah, supposedly the
think it'll-
console will release with a new 3D Mario.
I
dope.
don't think that is a real leak, but I think it's a very safe bet.
It is such a. Here's the thing: is that we are officially in the longest gap ever between 3D mainline Mario releases.
Yes.
Like Mario Odyssey in October of 2024 turned 7.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
Wild,
Wow.
isn't it?
so that's a really long gap, like a really long gap.
Yeah.
So just saying like, oh, there's going to be a new 3D Mario game. Like, of course there's going to be a
Nintendo
new
needs to
3D
step it
Mario
up.
Yeah,
game.
that is safe.
We should have had 3 of them by now.
Yeah, well, you know what's
Every
interesting?
year.
Mario Wonder was like the longest development time of a 2D Mario game ever,
Mhm.
and look at how good it was.
I
It
forget
looks
that it was a
incredible.
2D game.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It had the production value of like a full one. I think they saw that and went like, what if we just like put a ton of and
Yeah.
the really funny thing about Wonder was the Takashi Tezuka literally said like, this time we actually put some money into the art department.
Yeah.
And
As
that was
if, like,
such a
that-
funny
That was
sentence
such a funny sentence.
because the game's beautiful.
It's
It is
absolutely
beautiful.
It's
Yeah.
gorgeous. So
Colorful.
I wonder if the art department for Mario
Really
Odyssey had
salty.
no money
yeah.
and just was like and made it look amazing. And
Yeah.
then what if they went to them and said, "Hey, you have some money. The next game's going to be 4K
Incredible.
Ultra HD with like
it's just realistic grungy Mario Brothers now. It looks like the original movie.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
post-apocalyptic Mario.
Hoskins.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like Pedro Pascal's Mario
Oh,
Kart.
Oh my
yeah.
god.
SNL
from
skit.
SNL.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think a lot of times leaks are just safe bets that turn out to be true.
Sure, absolutely. Like
know.
the Xenoblade X remake, that was a very safe bet. Everyone knew that was coming.
That they put the exact date on.
Everyone knew that was coming.
Now, when there's specifics in a leak,
Yeah.
I'm inclined to think they have some sort of insider information, but it's just like a safe bet.
it's
Just
a
like,
new Mario game, and it has something to do with Rabbids.
oh no, no, I don't
I've
want
never
that.
played a Mario Rabbids game, so
I played the first one; it was
no
pretty
opinion.
good. I've never played the second one because
Yeah.
I was like, you played your hand,
Yeah.
and you played yourself.
Oh,
What
Nice.
about it played its hand?
No,
It
I
was
mean,
just
as
the
in like
the novelty had
the
worn
first
off.
one
Yeah.
was novel, and then when they came out with another one, I was like,
Second one's supposed to be better than the first one, though.
it is supposed to be a lot better. Oh well.
Something about the Rabbids just gives me Minions energy.
Yeah.
Where I'm
Yeah.
just like, I'm just,
The
it's
funniest thing is, I
exhausting.
feel like back in the day when the Wii came out, they didn't, and I can't explain to you what changed.
I think because they were just the Minions didn't give off Minions vibes when they first came out.
You make a really good point.
Yeah.
Because they were just like, oh, that's
They knew their
silly
place.
little movie.
Yeah.
little funny guy, like R2D2 moments, but they
Mhm.
weren't
Yep.
like in the foreground all the time.
Yeah.
Because there's a way to put out a lot of content featuring something and without making it obnoxious, and the Minions are not that.
No.
Like they just are obnoxious,
Yeah.
and it just feels like they're just saturating it to get grandma to buy tickets to go see. Because that's the
Yeah.
thing. I work in an office where there are older people who have grandchildren. They love things like the Minions because they can take it and there's a fart sound.
Keeps the kids distracted.
Occupied.
Yeah, and then
Hopefully
and the thing.
none of them watch this podcast.
Oh,
'cause
please
you just
don't.
Called them old.
Oh, good point. I work with many. I don't know how to
can't
recover from
save
this.
this.
I
Cut the
can't
whole
save
thing
this.
out.
Yeah, I'm the editor. It's not in it. No, the
Just remember.
because I found a good way to, speaking of 3D Mario, which is my favorite game series like of all time, is the mainline 3D Marios.
Yeah.
I found a good way to articulate what I think makes Mario fans specifically. So like I love the Mario fan community because
Mhm.
people forget that it's there.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
did you know gaming was like, we know a lot of Zelda YouTubers, we know a lot of like Metroid YouTubers. Are there any Mario YouTubers? They didn't even know they exist.
Yeah.
And then Nathaniel Bandy was like, hi. He has like 2 million subscribers. People just forget
Yeah.
that Mario fans are a
Wow.
thing because they're so chill. And
They dive into the lore of Mario.
we do.
They
The heavy
dissect
story
the
lore.
Stevie, you get it
Yeah.
right here.
Oh, Stevie gets
The
it.
Mario fans.
Yeah.
No, I think if you're a fan of Mario, that inherently means that you're a fan of new experiences that feel familiar.
Mm,
Yeah, sure.
mhm.
Like with the next Mario game, I want to be playing as Mario and his friends.
Yeah.
I want it to be Mario,
Yeah.
but I want him to do something new. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, Mario fans are not at all averse to like just completely unhinged nonsense as long as it looks and feels
As long
like
as they're
Mario.
still
Yeah.
jumping on people's heads,
Yeah,
fighting Bowser and his
fighting
children.
Bowser. It's got to throw some Goombas in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Supporting
matter.
fascism.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Mario Cellini. No, but like, yeah, he's shooting water to clean up goop, or he's like possessing people against their
With his
will.
hat.
Just
Nintendo generally,
whatever.
or especially Nintendo EAD, are generally pretty good at making every game they come out with feel very unique.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas I
like
feel,
most Zelda games are that.
but
way
I do
too.
think some people get really like attached to that idea of unfamiliar. They don't want anything familiar in the game.
Yeah, sure.
And Mario fans are kind of the opposite of that. But I will say that sometimes this is not a knock on anybody, but I think some people want something to feel unfamiliar but be the very same to what they
sure.
want an over the shoulder action game, but they don't want anything in it to be something they've seen before.
Yeah.
And I think Mario's the inverse of that.
Yeah.
It looks and sounds very familiar, but what
But the
you're doing
experience is super different.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Which is where I think the two fan bases kind of
Yeah.
cross. So the next Mario game, the that's definitely coming because now a leaker said it is.
if it's all-
I hope it's really different.
What if it all takes
and-
place in Mario's in a submarine the whole time,
Yes,
and you're just running around trying to fix the submarine to
Right.
keep it from crashing?
you found the one new thing I don't want.
It's all just dimly lit
Yeah.
interiors.
High stress.
You're having to do plumbing
Yeah.
on those subs interiors.
Actually, that sounds really fun.
I mean,
it
that
does
could
sound like
actually
a
be
fun
fun.
spinoff.
It's like
Now that I
Mario's
think
version
about
of
it.
Overcooked.
Yeah.
Every level has like a new thing.
Yeah,
we figured it out.
Yeah.
Mario.
figure it out. Mario submarine.
Anyone
Yeah.
at Nintendo is watching this.
You owe us
You heard it
royalties.
here
Don't
first.
steal our
Yeah.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll sue
Trademark.
Someone commented that we should all get money from Nintendo if the next console is called the
The
Switcheroo.
you. The switcheroo.
They stole it. They were going to call it Switch 2.
Yeah, if they were going,
They
if they
stole
call it Switch 2, it's because they saw us coin the term switcheroo and they went, oh no, we haven't
have to change
patented. We have
Yeah.
to change it.
We have to change it.
So they just changed it to Switch 2 because it was an emergency. So we're sorry.
We're sorry.
about that.
Tanked
We deprived
the
you of.
marketability
I will
of
never
the
not
Switcheroo.
call it the switcheroo.
That's what it's.
Just
That's
so
what it
you know.
is. Yeah. So
It's too perfect.
that was the news.
That's
That
the
was the
news.
news.
Yeah. Sorry
not,
that it's all
not
just-
really any news. Mostly just
Yeah.
leaks and
Now we're going to record ourselves doing a reaction to the Switch 2 getting announced because it could be any minute at this point. Oh my gosh. Oh, wait, guys. It's not called the Switcheroo. Cancel my pre-order. I don't want it
Send it
anymore.
all back.
Yeah. All right, guys. We have a unique thing that Rachel's hosting today.
oh
She's one of the hosts
I
with the
am.
most. And as we've already longtime podcast viewers know, there's a particular game Rachel really loves.
yeah.
Actually, I don't think they do.
No,
No, I
you've
think
talked about it
I think I've talked about.
because I called you out. Remember?
Oh, you
You
did.
said your
did
comfort
call it.
game.
My
Yeah,
comfort
see?
Oh,
game.
yeah.
Now I'm calling her out again about
Call me
calling her
That's
out.
what husbands are for. They call you out, apparently.
Yeah, that's what we do. Just call them out.
That's
No,
what
yeah,
they do.
we're gonna do a classic. We're bringing it back
Yeah.
because none of us are here.
That's right.
We're doing a deep
Deep
dive
dive.
on
Deep dive.
Ocarina of Time.
I thought you said it was Mario Kart.
Guys, welcome to Deep Dive. It's where we pick a game and we just talk about it endlessly. This time, we're talking about a classic. Legend
Star
of
Fox
Zelda.
64.
No,
Oh, dear.
that's coming though.
So close.
The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of
of
Time.
Time.
The OG 3D Zelda game.
That's
What
right.
can be said about Ocarina of Time that hasn't already been said?
Not a thing.
much.
Exactly. Games I haven't played, but I have strong. No, I'm
Strong
just kidding.
things about Ocarina of Time.
No, we're all super fans of this
Yeah.
game. It's right above Ty's head. That's our original copy, by the way.
My neck hurts, so I'm not turning. to look
Don't
at this
don't
one.
bother. Yeah,
Don't pull
you're not
anything.
gonna give us the classic. Yeah.
Can't do it. I can't even.
The
do
donkey
my head back.
The donkey face.
That's my
As
favorite.
far back as I can go.
No, yeah, we. It's funny because I recently
You're right.
had
That is funny.
such a lame joke that I knew you were gonna make.
Such a big brother.
It's such a big. Yeah, it really is. That's why I knew he was going to do
For
it.
sure, those just tuning in, these are brothers.
Yeah, we're brothers.
Mhm.
This is the only brothers on the podcast right
There's usually
now.
4.
Yeah.
There's usually 4. Yeah. So what's funny is that like I think as a game goes on as long as Ocarina of Time has existed
Yeah.
and continues to be hailed as like the greatest game of all time, it attracts this attention where people are like, people who are like, I'm a pragmatic realist.
Oh God.
Yeah. I'm gonna. That's a quote from someone on the pod who said that before.
Michael B.
Yes, you got
that's
it
it, yeah.
right. No, people who are
Michael
like
B's not that deluded.
the reasonable side of the fandom thinks like, oh,
Yeah.
it was a great game for that era. It was a great game for that time.
Hear that a lot.
Right? And now it sucks. And what's funny is that even I think a little bit to some degree I kind of started to maybe think that way a little bit, that like oh, it was really good, but maybe it hasn't aged super well. And then my faith was completely restored, and I fell on my knees and prayed for forgiveness for thinking that when the venerable Felix Sanchez over at Nintendo Life.
Loved having you on the pod, Felix.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I would actually love to have Felix on the
You
pod.
sit
That'd
right
be dope.
there.
Yeah, you can have Ethan's seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he did a live stream where he played through Ocarina of Time for the first time because Felix was born in like 2002, I think.
Mhm.
So his first and only Zelda game up to this point was Breath of the Wild.
That's insane.
I got so nervous when Felix was going to play it because I tuned into his live streams.
Yeah.
I got so nervous because I was like, he's going from Breath of the Wild to Ocarina of Time. I was like, I think he's going to hate it. Like, I got scared that he was like not going to like the game at all. And like, spoiler alert, he loved it.
Yeah.
Like I think
I
he
could
was
have told you that.
I think he was in tears when he finished the game.
There's like there's a kind of a, it's not a middle ground really. It's just a like acknowledgement with old games that like there are things that don't age as well as and most of the time when we're first playing the game, we can point them out. When I was like first playing like Twilight Princess, I loved the graphics, and at the same time knew these graphics are not going to age very well.
Yeah.
Because I know
Not like
how
Wind Waker.
realistic, like darker graphics just don't look as good because you make much greater advancements in that area over time compared to the more cartoony graphics Zelda had. And I was like, these look incredible and they're not going to age that well.
Yeah.
So we can acknowledge that there are things that don't age as well. In Ocarina of Time, some of the borders to the world look like little cardboard stands and stuff.
Right.
But ultimately, how much does that affect your enjoyment of the game? People
None.
are nostalgic for that stuff. And even more than being nostalgic for that stuff, people play brand new games where stuff like that is included, but because it's part of the aesthetic, it's just part of the aesthetic. It's not like it has to be super realistic. So if you strip all of that away and acknowledge the things that maybe didn't age as well, then you go and look at Ocarina of Time and like, okay, now where does it still hold up? It absolutely holds up.
Absolutely.
The
Holds
dungeons,
up incredibly. The
puzzles.
dungeons and puzzles are absolutely stupendous.
And I think it all kind of goes back to this concept that Miyamoto talks about a lot over the history of his career. Good Blood did a really good video called The Question No One Asks Miyamoto, and it's all about this concept that in English just translates to a garden in a box or a miniature garden. And it's all about the art of crafting it to where everything looks purposeful.
Yeah.
Like the opposite, the difference between a garden and just like a natural landscape is natural landscapes are just sort of wild and untamed.
Yeah.
A garden is nature that's been specifically crafted for a specific look.
Nature with intention.
That's a great way to put it. And then so people if you get really hung up on like the technical limitations of whatever a game was on, you're kind of looking at the box and missing the garden that's inside of it. Like, well, back then we couldn't, we didn't have this type of turf, and we've really grown in our ability to make it look more realistic, right? But look at what they were able to do back then, and that we still kind of struggle to do today.
Tons of people who aren't nostalgic for Super Nintendo games play like 2D platformers that come out. You know,
Mhm.
you see a lot of indie games and
yeah.
stuff mimic that style. Shovel Knight. There were tons of people who played something like Shovel Knight that had never played a Super Nintendo,
Mhm.
and it's because those pixels, while that's a way of doing things that we've kind of moved away from, it looks good. It looks good today because it looks good back then.
Yeah.
Now, that hasn't
Yeah.
changed just because we can do more, just because there are games out there with like beautiful hand-drawn sprites. It doesn't make the games that use pixels suddenly look worse.
No.
And Ocarina of Time and N64 games are kind of the same way. That's a style, and it's fully possible to enjoy that style even without nostalgia, even when just approaching it for the first time, because it looks good, because it always looked good.
Yeah.
We've just got things that look different, that look like better from a technical standpoint,
Sure.
and those look great too. But it doesn't make the old stuff really look worse.
No.
And so, like,
I'm
yeah,
a firm believer that you could take like the assets of Ocarina of Time and like change it to any kind of style that you want.
Yeah.
Like that game could look like just, I don't know, a child's like paper cutout. It could look
Yeah.
terrible.
yeah.
But like the story, the gameplay
Yeah.
is such that it would not matter. Like
No, yeah.
the story, the gameplay are all just so much fun, and it really pulls you in.
Yeah.
Music's amazing. Like
absolutely
I
incredible.
could not care less what
There-
what it looks like.
There's
Yeah.
so much incredible. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's so much incredible talent that went in to it, and I don't really think. I think between Ocarina of Time and Mario 64, I don't really think any two games have ever done as much for games writ large as those two games.
Yeah, I agree.
They kind of prototyped a lot of ideas in Mario 64, and then they fleshed them out in Ocarina of Time. And basically every 3D video game that's ever come out since then used some iteration on what those two games did, whether it's like how they controlled their camera, how you move in a 3D space.
Just how the character moves.
It taught a lot of developers a lot of lessons, and they've carried them forward until now. And so the bones of every good 3D game that have ever come out exist in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
And so going back there, it's just like it's kind of like going from driving a really fancy modern car to getting into like a really well designed, well kept like Model T. Like you're in a car that drives great, that sounds great, that feels great. It doesn't have bells and whistles, it doesn't have cruise control, it doesn't have a lot of the features that newer cars have, but it's designed to drive, and you're going to get to your destination. You're going to enjoy the ride, and that's kind of Ocarina of Time.
It's a good comparison.
Yeah, what blows my mind is to think of the fact that like the game before Ocarina of Time was A Link to the Past.
I know that's
crazy.
wild.
That's
isn't it?
That's
kind of
insane.
insane because I just recently replayed through Ocarina of Time on NSO, which the updates to NSO really were very obvious
Fix
in
a lot of the
Ocarina of Time
emulation problems.
because it came out with some pretty bad visual issues that kind of ruined set pieces.
Ocarina of Time.
Yep.
Yeah, on NSO it came out and
Fog and reflections. I
fog
think
and
didn't
reflections were gone. So like in the
So Shadow Link is just
Shadow Link is just there. He doesn't have a reflection or anything, and he literally just falls to the floor. It was bad.
that's
work.
real
It was
bad.
quite bad.
Yeah,
But they fixed it.
Okay.
So I played it because they fixed it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back and play through this game.
Did
this-
they include the 3DS
Nothing.
like where you can the control scheme of the 3DS
Nothing,
remake?
no.
That's unfortunate.
Not until they released
They-
the 3DS one, I think.
To be fair, though, the purpose of NSO and all that kind of stuff is to preserve its original
As
experience
close as
as closely.
possible.
Fair,
Yeah.
Did you play it with your N64 controller?
I sure did.
That's
That's
Yeah.
the way to do it.
You almost kind of have to because in Mario 64, the C buttons were a camera, so the right stick kind of makes sense. In Ocarina of Time, they're not. They're like your items.
Modern joysticks.
So having to, like,
don't
flick
love the
the right stick to shoot arrows was
Yeah.
terrible. I was like, I can't
And
do
modern
it.
joysticks don't love the sensitivity of the N64,
No.
even on like emulation. Like it's very hard to do like small movements on a modern joystick.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a true N64 controller, something about the joystick was just built
The
different.
gate
You probably know
and
more.
the
tension on
the
it
tension on it.
is very different, and so it's one of the things they always change when they're like porting the
Yeah.
game. One of the things that happened recently is there's a PC port of Ocarina of Time called Ship of Harkinian, and it's just from where the source code got leaked.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
people put it together, and the base version of it is as similar to Ocarina of Time as you can get.
Yep.
But it does have some features in there to like, do you want the joystick to act more like a modern joystick?
Yeah.
And like even if I'm going for the purest experience, unless I can get an N64 controller, I turn that on because like the N64's joystick is just too different than a modern joystick for it to be 1-to-1 anyway.
Yeah, and I think the crazy part when you're talking about jumping from A Link to the Past to Ocarina of Time is the cinematic nature of Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Playing back through it, I forgot how intent, like my heart would kind of race during some of the moments because it was just really well directed.
Yeah.
Like the director Miyamoto, he did such a good job like conveying the intensity of these moments, and it's a pretty creepy Zelda game.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
it has
yeah.
some moments.
it's not that it doesn't have silliness, but it has some like intense themes
Yeah.
that go on in it.
Every time that what's the hand that drops down on top of you?
It's
Ceiling Master.
Ceiling
See,
Master.
every time one of those suckers, I see that shadow.
Yeah.
You're just done.
Mother effer,
it's-
get out of here.
It's
Yeah.
so funny because until Tears of the Kingdom, I felt like Zelda was kind of getting away from creepy stuff.
yeah,
Breath of the
yeah.
Wild
Yeah.
seemed less creepy than Tears of the Kingdom has some creepy moments. Though.
Yes, it does.
Tears of the Kingdom does. Yeah,
yeah,
it kind of went back to
And
that.
I hope they keep it up because you're right. It's like it's kind of always been a part of Zelda's DNA. Because frankly, A Link to the Past has some moments that made me
No,
a
A Link
little
to the Past.
uncomfortable
I think
too.
Miyamoto in general had sort of a passion
like
for
that.
scaring children.
Yeah, well, you know,
I mean,
the
he made it
eel
work,
in-
though.
The eel
Yeah,
in
he
Mario
did.
64 is
He
the scariest thing that's ever happened.
Still
in video
nightmares.
games,
Still
so-
nightmares.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time. One of the things that
Is it Ocarina or Ocarina, Ty? Let's be honest.
it's Cocarina.
Yes,
Ocarina.
yeah.
I think it's
Coconut of
probably
Time.
Ocarina, and I just say Ocarina sometimes.
I go back between.
I
the
go
two.
back and forth. I mean, I
It's
always
like root and route. I say it all the time.
Yeah, I call it. I used to call
Splitting
it
hairs.
Kakariko Village until
Yeah, we
Breath of
called
the
it
Wild came
Kakariko.
along.
Do you know what the biggest sign that all four of us children were dyslexic growing up? You know what it is.
Well, there were a bunch of them.
There's so many.
I love these
Sahasrara,
stories.
We always pronounce Sharjala.
That one, I forgot about that
Figure
one.
that one out.
Sharjala. No,
Sharjala.
the twin.
It's too long.
We call them
Oh,
Twin
it's
Vora.
Twin Vora. and
It's very obviously Twin,
Twin
Rova.
Rova.
But I was an adult when I was like, Rova? Like, I couldn't believe
Yeah.
it was Twin Rova.
That's also kind of like a thing of playing video games before the advent of the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Before
sure.
you could like very easily hear someone saying these things out
Yeah.
loud. If
Mhm.
it's just you in your head. So if you're like mispronouncing it wrong in your head,
Yeah.
or like you don't even have any idea of like how it's pronounced, like that freaking dragon that you fight in the fire temple.
Volvagia.
Volvagia.
Yeah.
Vulvagina, as people
Vagina's
call it.
coming.
I think we did
Yeah.
used to call it like Volvagia or something, but like
No,
there-
we called it Volvasia, I think.
Volvagia or
like-
something.
Oh,
The funny
that's-
thing was we weren't actually like misspelling Kakariko, but we were putting the emphasis wrong.
Kakariko.
And even once the internet was a thing, people still mostly pronounced it Kakariko
Yeah.
Yeah.
because like
We did say
We're-
Kokori Forest, and it's
and it's
very
Kokiri.
obviously
Yeah.
Kokiri.
Again,
We were
very
dyslexic. We were
very
very
dyslexic.
dyslexic,
Should have been
yeah.
more obvious than it
'Cause
was.
To your point, people who say Gerudo or Gerudo, that's a just pronunciation.
Yeah.
You could say it either way. We were just wrong.
We were just wrong.
It's not.
It's not
We were
Sharjala.
flipping. It's not-
Inserting letters.
It's not
Sharjala.
Sharjala.
Inserting
not a
letters
name.
that are nowhere in
Yeah.
that
No.
name. Yeah.
Well, we were literally just taking the V and putting it where the R was and putting the
it's a
Twin
very
Vora.
dyslexic
Vora.
thing. I still think it sounds better. But
The
they probably didn't
Twin
want the word.
Vora sounds
They
better
probably
than
didn't
Twin
want the word
Rova.
vor in their game.
Mm.
My-
But they do want Volva.
You innocent, you sweet child.
Yeah. No, the thing that's awesome about Ocarina of Time that was like a purely artistic, stylistic, and it's like kind of mind-blowingly good, is that the game we should say too, spoiler alerts for this 30-year-old game.
If you haven't played it yet.
Actually, if you're Felix's age and you haven't played it, don't watch this because it is
Yeah.
worth playing.
Mega spoilers.
Just click the like button and get out of here.
Yeah, if you haven't played Ocarina of Time, just click the like button and leave.
Yeah.
No, it plays around beautifully with a concept called diegetic and non-diegetic music. If you're unfamiliar with it, I don't remember which is which, but I'm going to try here. I believe that diegetic music is music that is happening in the world that the people in the game can actually hear. Yeah. Non-diegetic is the music like in Hyrule Field that you just hear, that you as the player hear to give you a sense of what's happening, but that the characters can't hear.
Yeah.
And so the reason that did I get that right?
You got it right.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
Take that, dyslexia. I didn't say dyslexic people.
Take that.
The actual dyslexia.
Disease.
No, is that like the ocarina is obviously diegetic because Link is literally playing it. But then every time you play it, he plays the melody, but then like an orchestra picks up behind him, which is non-diegetic.
Yeah.
So they play with that. But then there's a lot of there's a lot of themes about music kind of playing a big role, like the Song of Storms drives the guy crazy.
Well, and then when you go to Lon Lon Ranch,
Marin.
you hear the singing, and then you think it's just the music of the ranch, but when you talk to Marin and she starts talking back to you, it stops.
Yeah.
And you realize, she's
been
singing
humming this whole time.
Yeah.
Also, isn't it Malin?
It's
Marin.
Malin.
Marin's in a Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening.
Who can keep up with all these parallel
Marin
universes?
and Malin and Talon and
To
Terran.
be fair, Marin and Terran were the bases of Malin and Talon.
Yeah,
they
of
look
course.
the same. And Terran was based off of Mario.
Oh, wow.
Super based off
Yeah.
of. Here's a picture of all three of them so you can see what I'm talking about.
You're not going to remember to put that in.
Make him remember.
Yeah. No, but and then the big one, the exciting one. If you're still here and you haven't played it, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Why haven't you hit
Get
the like
out.
button?
Get out.
No, he's at the very end.
Ganondorf.
You think that it just the music in his castle is just an organ, and then you get up there.
He's playing.
Nah,
He's
he's
up there.
fanning him off of the opera up there.
Yeah.
Like he's just like
Perfect.
It's so good,
It's so good.
and they play around with that beautifully. The story, again, good blood. He just likes Ocarina of Time.
It's a man of taste.
He did a great video on like the underlying themes of Ocarina of Time, and it's one of those things where I think every story to some point can have underlying themes because stories are written by people, and people are
especially
very
Zelda
complex.
games. Though I feel like that's where the story is usually told in the Zelda game.
Yeah.
You piece it together from all the little things.
Yeah.
And
But
Ocarina of Time kind of started that.
It started the concept. I love that each of the sages that you meet are like an element of becoming an adult.
Mm-hmm.
And I think growing up is such a good way to tell a story because we all have to grow up, and looking at those like relatable elements and putting them in that kind of like framework of like, okay, the world is ending. There's like tension on it. Recreates the feeling and the pressure that each of us have that like I have to grow up. Not all of us are like saving the world from ending, but it feels that way when you're growing up. Like I'm gonna get left behind, or like it's just something I have to do. And I think that the game really beautifully covers all of those and like does so in a way that you don't necessarily realize, because in the context of the story, you're finding special people who are sages, and the reason you're looking for them is to save the world. So it's not in your face, but each of them relates to things like friendship, family, responsibility, love, like all these things that come with getting older.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I love games where you can enjoy them as a kid because they have like a simple premise, but then as an adult you can go back and see elements that were way too deep for you to get as a kid.
I think that's how like the best fantasy stories are told. They're about things that they come up with an idea for something powerful and fundamentally human, and then you dress it up with the lore and the other stuff, and that stuff should be good and fun too.
Yeah.
Because that's also fun to engage with. but then you started with this principal idea, and Ocarina of Time is the idea of growing up. Link literally goes from being a kid to an adult, and so then they dress it up with all of the Zelda trappings and stuff, and so it's there the whole time. And as you scratch below the surface, you start seeing this like tapestry they've created. And I think in general, Legend of Zelda is really good about doing that, but I feel
I
like
agree, yeah.
Ocarina of Time is where that idea of like the story isn't the story, there's another thing going on here, kind of started, because the first three Zelda games, their stories, while I really like the story in A Link to the Past a lot, it doesn't feel like it was constructed with the same kind of mentality that Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and Wind Waker all like kind of were. It's more of a straightforward like fantasy story. And it is still immensely entertaining, but the through line is so easy to see in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
And
A Link to the Past reads
incredible.
like I'm trying to think. I don't want to say like historical, but like mythology.
Yeah,
Like, there once was this ancient
you're very
realm.
zoomed out from the story and the characters and stuff, and it has these incredible moments speckled through it.
Yeah,
but
like
they feel
Ganon's
a little
secret
more
technique of darkness,
secret technique,
which
of
is
darkness.
literally he shuts
Turns
the lights off.
Yeah,
We were like, Miyamoto, you genius.
He's a genius.
He's not being metaphorical. He literally means, here's my secret technique. Darkness. Maybe the of wasn't supposed to be there. Here's
Maybe
my
it's a
secret
translation
technique.
error.
Darkness.
Secret technique. I always say it's my secret technique of darkness before I turn out the lights for bed.
Yeah.
This is my
Time for my secret technique of
darkness.
darkness.
Say that to my cats.
Now, see, okay, so is Ocarina of Time your favorite Zelda game?
It's not.
It's not mine either. Is it yours?
Absolutely
Yeah.
my favorite Zelda game. I go back to it like once every year, every other year
Yeah.
to play it again. Now, something I did want to ask you guys.
Okay.
Part of what I think Ocarina of Time does so great is the side quests.
Oh yeah.
I
It's
agree.
got a rich amount of side quests,
Yeah.
variety of side quests.
Doesn't get credit for its side
It
quests
doesn't.
enough.
Not
No,
enough.
Yeah.
not enough credit.
Not enough.
Yeah.
But what is your favorite side quest or side quest
Ooh.
chain in the game?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a really good one.
In
See,
Ocarina, I definitely know what my favorite is.
Okay.
then you go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's definitely saving the ranch.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
is
okay.
such a good side quest.
That's
and
a really good one.
along the way you get Epona,
Mhm.
and you're helping out Mal and Talon, who are two characters that you've interacted with previously. But it is it's not required to do. Well, I think it's required to get into the bay. So maybe it's not
So you
really
can
a
jump the
side
fence.
quest, but it feels like a
It
side
kind of
quest.
is.
You can do it at any point.
Kind of is, yeah. Mine's pretty easy too.
Yeah.
I think it's like the side quest
Okay.
in
Yeah.
any video game ever. Big Oran Sword.
Oh, that's
Oh,
a good
yeah.
one.
I mean,
That
like,
one's
as a
much fun,
kid,
so rewarding.
The idea that you had something in the game and you go to someone else's save file who's beaten the game,
Yeah,
and
they
you're
don't
like,
have
you're
it.
like, hey, you don't have
Yeah.
Big Oran Sword. Or I remember one time I went to a friend's house, and because I was a little troll, I noticed he had the giant's knife. He's like, yeah, I got the big sword. And I was like, oh, cool. And I ran over to a wall and
You
just started
broke it?
smacking it. And when it broke, he was like, what'd you do? And I was like, you're a pleb because you don't have the real sword.
You don't have the real big
You're a loser.
sword. You
and
got
then I
the broken
saved
one.
and I shut his console.
Oh my
off.
God,
I didn't
you're such
actually
a
do that
jerk.
part.
Devin
I
was
didn't
a
do that
terrible
part.
Yeah.
friend as a
No,
child.
that's like the side quest.
It's the side
Yeah.
quest.
Like you can
yeah.
get a bigger sword that's like more powerful than the Master Sword, which canonically doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, but it is.
But yeah, I love the Big Oran Sword.
Size matters.
See,
Sure
guys,
does.
In the
it-
Zelda
it's not
universe.
just Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom where the Master Sword's not that
No,
good.
Yeah.
No.
It was all the way back in Ocarina of Time.
Which, side note, in Tears of the Kingdom and
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, ostensibly, the design for the Big Oran Sword is dope.
it's so good.
The sheath they
It's
gave it.
super cool.
Is it in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I found it naturally in Tears of the Kingdom. I was
My
just
favorite
exploring.
thing is that you don't need amiibo or anything. You find these.
Really?
Yeah,
items.
I encountered one of those big silver moblins, and I was like, he's got to be hiding something. This was like 3 hours into playing the game.
That's insane.
So I just got a bunch of sticks and went in there and beat him to death, and bing bang boom.
It's so good.
I'm not going to go on that
Chugging
tangent.
apples
Yeah, yeah.
every 5
Yeah.
seconds.
So funny.
So the thing I'll say about Ocarina of Time that didn't age super well
Yeah.
was aiming while on the back of the horse.
Or aiming in general.
Aiming in general.
This is,
yeah.
again, though, I feel like what you're talking about isn't a feature of the game. I do think this is more a feature of that joystick on that N64
It's imprecise.
controller.
It's
Yeah.
not
Very
as
imprecise.
precise.
It's the tension is so high that it's a little imprecise, and on modern joysticks we talked about small movements don't work because on Ship of Harkinian it feels great to aim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
The 3DS version,
the 3DS
introduced
version had the
gyro,
Motion
gyro.
aiming,
which
so
I will
good.
I will say they clearly designed the game around the fact that it was kind of hard to aim.
Yeah, because it's so easy.
Because then in the 3DS version, like the Gerudo aiming challenge and stuff is just easy.
Very easy.
yeah,
It's
Majora's
like
Mask,
not a
all the
struggle.
shooting galleries they added to the game. It's so easy now.
It's so
on
easy now.
3DS. It's not even.
So
not
to
even
some
hard.
extent, I'm kind of like it's more strenuous and difficult, but I
You
don't think it's
can-
objectively just bad.
In the 3DS version, you can turn gyro off,
Yeah.
and the circle pad on the 3DS or whatever
Is-
joystick you
yeah.
are using on emulator is still more precise than the N64's
Absolutely.
joystick. So it
Yeah,
still
yeah.
feels a
Yeah.
little better, but it's not quite as easy to aim,
No.
and that breaks that aspect a little bit less.
I don't
But
know
yeah.
why you would turn the gyro aiming off.
I don't know why you would. It's so nice. It's
It's so nice.
But honestly, like having really precision aim isn't that big of a game-breaking thing for Ocarina
No.
because
No.
I think they knew that the aiming was a little bit imprecise, so there's not that many elements where you have to,
Yeah.
and you can lock onto things and shoot them.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal.
So
and when running around, the joystick feels fine.
which do you prefer, the 3DS version or the N64 version?
I mean,
3DS.
I like the 3DS version.
3DS.
Rachel
Uh,
knows what she likes.
I know
She's
what
I like.
like,
The
my
only-
favorite Zelda game, only the 3DS version. I don't have to think about it.
I want those arrows in the water temple. I don't have time.
They
for
did
The different
backtracking.
colors
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
Yeah, no, that is nice.
They did such a good job with the 3DS version of like updating the art style. There's something appealing about the old angular art style.
Sure.
But they did such a good job of making the 3DS version just absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful.
It just looks like the artwork from the N64
Yeah,
version.
it was perfect.
perfect,
The
yeah.
controls, are mostly the same with just like enough changes to like
Mhm.
some quality of life
Quality of
updates.
life, yeah.
So I prefer the 3DS version, but it's just like taking a already fantastic game and adding like one more layer of polish.
They
to it.
really
Yeah.
didn't change
Like
much,
it's not as if it's like a whole different thing. I like the additions they made to the 3DS version. There was one thing where the colors in the 3DS version are a little bit off because of the nature of the 3D.
Couldn't get
it-
those true
yeah.
blacks.
It couldn't quite get true blacks.
They
with the
basically had to
color.
remove a lot of shadows,
Yeah.
which gives the game a bit of a sort of like it loses some of that like ethereal dreamlike
Yeah.
feeling.
Mhm.
And so I do think
You can fix a lot of that with emulation, and when
Yeah.
one day they hopefully port that to Switch or Switch 2 or whatever they end up doing,
Yeah.
I'd love for them to just tweak the color a little bit and
yeah.
restore that, because you're obviously not going to have 3D on the new. Well, maybe you will, but probably not have 3D on the new
Yeah.
system, so it's not an issue.
Mhm.
And so just give us a little tweak,
Just a little, yeah,
tweak.
Yeah.
color
That's all it
correction,
takes.
yeah.
But honestly,
It used
such a minor
shadow.
thing.
If the original game didn't use shadows so much,
and it was so clever the way it used them.
especially like the final battle and everything, where Ganon is basically completely
Big
obscured by
time.
shadow, and then when
Yeah.
lightning strikes, you get a
You can
little
see him.
glimpse of him.
You can see him so clearly in the 3DS version.
He's literally
He's
just
standing there.
complete, and the
yeah.
effect is almost completely lost.
Yeah.
So for like, if I want to feel the intensity of Ocarina of Time again, I'll go back and play the original. But like objectively,
Or
the
you can-
3DS
or you can
version,
just emulate
Is
the
or I can
3DS
just emulate it.
version,
Just
Project
emulation. Quentin's not
Restoration.
here, so we're going to talk about emulation.
I might put a link to the 3D the mod in the
Oh wait,
bio-
for
in the
audio
description.
listeners,
I'm Quentin, and you should just emulate it.
You just
Quentin,
steal everything.
shush.
Get out of here, Quentin.
oh, yeah,
We got Mario and Rachel now.
yeah.
We don't need you guys anymore.
Mario's such a
yeah.
good listener.
He's such a good listener.
His posture's so nice.
Yeah. I
know.
Look at him.
He's a little bit anti-Semitic sometimes.
We
Oh,
edited
no,
all
I
that
was
out.
thinking of Quentin.
You were
Mario's
thinking of Quentin.
good.
You went
No,
back
Mario's
to Quentin
good.
again. Oh well.
Yeah.
So, so
That was a good deep dive.
That was a good deep dive.
That was a good deep dive.
Lastly, can we all just?
I do want
go.
to talk about not to extend the deep dive by too much, but something I wanted to talk about.
Extend
Devin
it.
and I are more familiar with. But
Get out of here, Rachel.
Get out of here, Rachel. No, you're not. You know the ends of this, and Devin and I know the stuff about the middle, which is like aspects of the Zelda series that Ocarina of Time started so much of what we know.
Basically,
as Zelda.
all of it. Yeah.
And then you played a lot of Breath of the Wild as well, and that's kind of like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are kind of the latest entry, and a lot of new and different stuff, but a lot of that stuff has been in the works forever, right? Like, and so like the next Zelda game on the N64 iterated on a lot of different concepts, like the horseback riding and the and like the idea, the way itemization has worked in Zelda has changed a whole lot, and it can kind of seem like in going from like Ocarina to Breath of the Wild, what, Rachel, did you think, like, was it a lot of whiplash with like how different the like items and stuff were, how they interacted with the world, or was it kind of like, did it feel very similar to you?
And I should establish for the viewers, just so it's clear, you've played a lot of Zelda games.
I played a lot of Zelda games. I played obviously Ocarina, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Link's Awakening,
the Oracle games.
Oracle games.
For some reason, I thought she had not played Twilight Princess or Wind Waker, and so my question, everything I just said is wrong.
How do you feel though about the big change, Breath of the Wild?
There are some
Tears?
big changes. The fact that it's non-linear, like the idea of just go wherever you want to go, kid. You know, just pick up and just you want to climb that mountain. Honestly, going from like strictly linear Zelda games that are kind of on rails as far as how much of the world you can explore at a time, to just like go wherever you want was a little overwhelming.
It's a little bit overwhelming.
It was a little overwhelming to the point where I kind of had to like just put the game down at points and just like walk away from it and then be like, okay, what am I gonna do? I need one goal. Yeah. And I'm gonna get that goal done for a while, and then I can explore a little bit, because I would find myself just like wandering to like get to something, and then I would see something else off in the distance, and I'd be like, oh, what's that? And then I'd see something else off in the distance and be like, oh, what's that?
Totally lost.
Not getting anything done, and like just completely overwhelmed. So that part was like shocking. Like I never ever thought that there would be like overwhelm in a good way in a video game like that.
It's funny that you say that, because I got to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and I was like, I now have the freedom to play Zelda the same way I always have. Yeah. Like, I literally just played it like, I was like,
an objective.
oh, there's an
Let's
objective.
go.
And I went and I did one dungeon, then another dungeon, then another dungeon, then another, and then went and beat the last boss. But it was sort of like, oh, I get to do whatever I want. It's kind of like, you know, you've been going to McDonald's all your life. Yeah. And they force you to have a hamburger and fries. And then Burger King comes along and goes, have it your way. And you go, dope. I'll take a burger and fries.
I'll take a burger and fries.
Yeah.
No, I was the same way. I played Breath of the Wild exactly like I played every other Zelda game, but it was still much more like Rachel's experience, where I was wandering around and I'd see something and go, what's over here? And I get distracted. But that's how I played Ocarina of Time. I was like wandering through Hyrule Field, and I go, what's that thing over there? It was where they wanted me to go. Yeah. But I didn't. Everything's an emergent experience if you have no idea what you're doing.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
No, but I think it's so funny to see the way the Zelda series kind of evolved, because you can see them like kind of prototyping some of the things in A Link Between Worlds, which is one of my favorites. Not a 3D from a movement standpoint, but it was of course on 3DS. That's where they actually started making the games non-linear. You could go to the dungeons in any order. It still had classical Zelda items, but you were given them all up front at the beginning, and I was like, they're cooking something here. And so like as the games go on, they frequently throw something out like Epona and Twilight Princess, and then they weirdly changed her for the Twilight Princess HD on the Wii.
Did they?
The way she controls is different, and it turns out they were prototyping the controls for horses in Breath of the Wild, and that's where you did it.
You don't hold forward in the Wii U version?
No, you do
forward?
Still, but it's the way she moves is extremely different. It doesn't feel good. It's the one thing that's worse about it. It was apparently they were.
No wonder you struggled with the
You want to watch something truly pitiful? Watch me try to complete that caravan mission where you're supposed to guide the caravan. It's just a complete mental breakdown.
Yeah, you were literally hyperventilating.
Was it
bordering on tears.
on HD?
Yeah,
HD?
she only you played through HD on Wii U.
The caravan was on fire. The field was on fire.
Yep, everything's on fire.
Yeah, I think I just did it for you.
I just
didn't I?
handed the controller.
Well, I'm not
Yeah.
surprised because they were apparently when making Breath of the Wild they were prototyping the way horses move, but they didn't even have horses in Breath of the Wild yet, so they were doing it in Twilight Princess.
Weird.
And they were making those adjustments and changes to how they feel, and then they thought they felt really good, so they just left them in for the Twilight Princess HD, but they don't feel really
didn't
good.
know that.
They
They're
feel
really
really
delayed.
bad. Everything's really delayed.
I didn't know that.
caravan mission went from being like a 3 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10 in difficulty.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right.
And like
that was the hardest part of the game for you.
when you get around to re-releasing those games, Nintendo, fix Epona, put her back,
Put
put her back the way she was.
Yeah.
The game
but
was fun up until that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I cried.
but the,
and
and then
it
it
kept
was
being
fun
fun
again.
after
And then
that.
it was fun
Yeah,
again.
right.
and but the funniest thing is the horses are so good in Breath of the Wild.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what's strange.
They got
Yeah.
to the right place, but man,
getting
we got
there
the
was rough.
it was weird.
poor Twilight Princess got the
Poor Twilight
Yeah.
Princess.
The
It got
test
experimented
version.
on, but I just love seeing the kind of small ways it changes, has changed over the years, and I think I'm excited to see how the Zelda series continues to change because I think that for the most part their changes have been iterative, and Breath of the Wild was a big shift, but I'd love to see them keep, instead of trying to do a big shift every game, just keep iterating because they're so good at it.
Well, and the thing that I'll say is that I always came at it from the angle of I kind of like the little more linearness to Zelda. I mean, one of my favorite Zelda games is Skyward Sword, which is pretty objectively the most linear.
Yeah.
And I always thought, well, I prefer the story in those games over Breath of the Wild. But then Felix over at Nintendo Life played through Ocarina of Time, and he was like, "Oh, the story's just better."
Oh
The
yeah,
story's amazing.
He's like, the story's just better because it's easier to tell a story when you start from the beginning.
Sure.
and I
Yeah.
think
you have
that
to go to the end.
that other Nintendo has talked about pulling inspiration from other games. They talked about pulling inspiration from Skyrim for Breath of the Wild. I think games like Red Dead Redemption 2 kind of showcase that you can have that big open world game and tell a linear story in it. And
I hope
that
they
it's
do
okay.
that.
It's okay to kind of do that. You can script it out to where the story is more straightforward. The fear, I think, in an open world game is that what if this place you go to later in the story, you already went there earlier because it's an open world game, you can just go there.
Right.
And the answer to that is fine.
Who cares?
Right.
Yeah.
Who
It
cares?
doesn't matter that you've gone there before. You're doing the story for story's sake and exploration and adventure for exploration and adventure's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those don't have to be the same thing. It's
No.
okay to send you back to a place you've
Yeah.
already been.
It's fine if I've
just
already
change it
been
up.
to Rito Village and nothing was happening,
Yeah.
and then because of things in the story, now things are happening.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
change up Rito Village.
And I just go
Ocar-
there again.
Wind Waker is
Yeah.
a great example.
Wind
of
Waker
that.
is a great
You can
example of
sail to that Fire Ice Island or
Yep.
whatever, but you can't do anything there,
Right.
Because you don't have the right item.
Which is fine.
That's fine. I got to go see it, and I had an experience, and then I
Yeah.
left. I don't think that's a big deal, and I hope Nintendo does that because a lot of times people will say that Zelda games don't have a very good story or their story's just kind of mid.
What are you
because-
talking about?
Well, and I think a lot of people.
If you only
Equate-
played Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, although I actually think Breath of the Wild has a really great
Yeah.
story, it's just told in a very different way.
Sure.
Tears of the Kingdom has some story problems, but
I haven't beaten that one yet. So no spoilers.
no spoilers.
I really hate at the end. No.
Yeah. But Breath of the Wild, I think, has a really nice story. It's just very small.
Yeah.
But in general, if those are the only two you played and you don't like that kind of storytelling, I could see thinking the games, or if you only played the handheld games,
Yeah.
I could see thinking the stories are very bare bones. But it's very hard to play Skyward Sword and be like, this game doesn't have a story.
Or that
if-
the story is just
Or that Groose isn't the best character
I know,
that's
Groose
ever
is
been in any
amazing.
game
Yeah.
ever.
the Groose is loose.
The Groose is loose, and we
Groose is
can't.
The world will
contain
never
him.
be the same.
Yeah, the world will never
Now,
be the same.
I do think
best
sometimes
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
people fall into the trap of thinking that character dramas are the only way to tell a good story and that the story's not in depth unless it's a character drama. And no knock to character dramas, they're great.
Yeah.
But like there are other types of stories.
We just talked
There
about
need to
Metroid
be-
Prime on
Yeah.
the pod having an incredible story that you can completely miss because it's
Yeah.
all told through like logs.
If you're not
Mhm.
willing to read.
If you don't read, you miss it, but it's actually a pretty great story.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Zelda, to a much less extent, because Zelda is a more traditional kind of story.
Sure.
But it's very similar, like we were talking about. The story of Ocarina of Time is not a story about a little fairy boy who goes and fights an evil man. Those things happen in it,
Right.
but it's a story about growing up
Mhm.
and even about being forced to grow up.
Yeah.
And that is the actual heart of it. And
Yes.
you come to understand that and you go, oh, this is deep.
Yeah.
And it is what it's always been, which is like a Studio Ghibli movie. You know,
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
we talked about how like when we saw Zelda look like a Ghibli film, some of us were just like, no, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because if you're familiar with both, they do this. Zelda has never before Breath of the Wild looked like a Ghibli film. However,
Not really.
the way it tells its story, where it's a very simple fantasy kind of story with these deep currents running
Yeah.
underneath it,
Exactly.
is exactly the
That's
same.
like Ghibli to a T.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Totoro, spoilers, it's not really about a big cat man.
No. No, it's not. And that's the thing is I think that those types of high fantasy stories
Yeah.
that are much more wide in their concepts often like say more to yourself. Like you learn
Yeah.
you like see yourself more in them.
Yeah.
Whereas a character drama is just really fascinating because the character's intricate.
Yeah.
That I think that you know we can have both and they can both be good.
We should have both.
Yeah, we should have
if
both.
if we get to where we only consume one type of media or even one style of storytelling, we've limited
worse.
ourselves and we've
That's a
lost
sad
something.
day.
Or worse.
We've lost.
So guys, that was
something.
Ocarina of Time.
That was Ocarina of Time. What a game!
Yeah.
The best deep dive.
The best
of
deep dive.
game.
Hopefully you guys heard some stuff like a new way of
A
looking
new
at it.
perspective.
I
on
know that
things.
everybody's talked about it, but you know,
You know.
we haven't talked
not
about
everybody.
it.
Maybe we'll play a randomizer of Ocarina of Time.
Ooh. That,
That
would be
I
fun.
tried
Isn't
I
coming
tried
in
to
the
do,
future.
I tried to do that once before with Ethan, and
that
it was
go?
incredibly fun, but we just didn't finish it because life happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way it is.
But we've got a
Yeah.
lot of footage.
Power up
Coming
ideas.
to you soon.
Subscribe. All right, guys,
Of
we're gonna
10-year-old
play.
footage.
We're gonna play a classic Power Up Brothers
Oh yeah!
game.
Did you write
It's-
down
it's
the
not in-
things we were supposed to write down?
Nope, but I will.
We're going to play video game character 20 questions.
Which is called 64 Questions. Welcome to 64 Questions, a power-up take on 20 questions. We've each got a video game character that's right here for all of us. You know what it is, but we don't know who we are.
Yeah.
So we've got to ask the other two players yes or no questions to try to determine which video game character we are. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes.
Um,
It's yes or no questions
no
only.
questions?
Yes or no
only.
questions only, and the first one to guess their character wins.
Wins.
All right.
Yeah.
So who goes first?
Oh, the thing I will say too.
Oh wait, we did. Did you write down Rachel's?
Do you
Huh?
guys know who I am?
I know who. you
Oh
are.
shoot, we need to.
Kinda.
Don't let each other see your cards.
Yeah, let's go with the first one. That's her first character.
Yes. Okay,
Yes.
I remember what it is. I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what it
We
is.
got this.
We got this.
All
We definitely didn't come up with this last second.
No.
Okay, so we'll go this way and then
Yeah.
take turns just going that way.
Yeah.
And you have to ask one of us the question.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
can't ask.
Yeah. Fair. All right. Yeah. Am I a human being?
Yes.
Who are you asking?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter.
If you both know the answer and one of you is gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
one
one
of
of
us
us
is telling
died.
the truth and one of us is lying.
It's a new layer to the game. Makes it impossible to play. Yes, you are. Yeah.
I'm a human
yes, you
being.
are.
All right.
Am I a male?
Yes.
Yes. You could. We've determined we're not going to ask the questions directly.
It's-
Okay,
we
alright.
can all answer.
It's character one we're doing right now.
Yes.
Character
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Go.
Okay, yeah. Am I human?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. Don't know how I feel
Go.
about that.
Let's see. So I am a human.
Mhm.
Am I male?
No. Am I a human? These are great questions to
No.
start with. No.
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 Okay. Am I female?
No.
Dang.
Go Ty.
Let's see. So I'm not a human. No, wait. I'm not a male, but I am a human.
You are a human.
Am I a bounty hunter?
Yes.
Dang, he's on it. Okay.
Yep, he's on it. Hang on, I gotta guess my character. I gotta guess my character to win. Ty's gonna get it next round. Okay, hang on. So
Come on.
I'm
make it
not human, and I'm a man.
Way down.
I'm gonna take a swing. Am I? Oh, and this is a rule. If you guess and you're wrong, you get skipped
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
because that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Am I Yoshi?
No.
I get skipped.
Dang. Okay. You kind of stole mine. I am a boy, and I am not a human. I was gonna say, am I Yoshi?
Oh,
Wait.
no.
Are you? Is that? Are you
my
asking?
guess.
No, you're not.
Dang it.
Am I Bounty Hunter Samus Aran?
You sure
are.
are.
Ty wins.
All right, me and Rachel are gonna battle for second
Okay,
here.
all right.
I get skipped because I was wrong, and then you get skipped because you were wrong,
So
and it's
neither
back
of
to
us
me.
get skipped.
Okay, so I'm not Yoshi. Do I appear in Mario games?
Sometimes, but rarely.
You can.
Let me see who
Yes or
Devin
no?
is.
I would say. Okay, hang on.
Just
Yeah.
because I forgot.
I'm not looking.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm not
I would
looking.
say,
Oh.
like, you're gonna have to clarify Mario games. Like, do you mean mainline Mario games?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Everyone appears in Mario Kart or Mario.
Sure, yeah. Which, by the way, you're being too nice. You can punish me and say yes and just
Yeah,
leave it. If
fair.
I was too general, you can punish me and say it. So I do appear at Mario games.
Okay.
Okay.
I have at some point.
Do I speak?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Have I specifically been in Mario in a Mario Kart game?
No.
No. Oh.
Okay. Male, not human, and I speak.
Yep.
Do I walk upright?
Yes.
Yes.
Huh.
Okay. Oh. Ty's character was too easy.
I can't believe how fast I got
yeah,
that.
you got that one right. But to be fair, female.
How many human females are in
Human
video
female.
games?
Okay. So
That.
what if?
Could have been Laura Croft.
Yeah, sure.
Those are the
Rachel
two.
was definitely.
Those
yeah.
are the two.
Those are the two. No. So I've never been in Mario Kart, but I have been in Mario games. Am I from Donkey Kong?
No.
Oh, dang.
Okay, so I'm not human.
Neither of us are apparently.
I am not. I'm male.
Yes.
And I do speak.
Yep.
And I do walk upright.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Am I a bear?
No.
Oh.
Okay. Am I a bear? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so I'm not from Donkey Kong. I've been in a Mario game, but not Mario Kart. I'm male. I'm not human. I gotta start playing. Rachel came up with this character, so I gotta start playing Rachel and not the game.
Brick wall.
In front of a brick wall.
Am I? Am I an animal that I could see in the real world?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Can I ask for a hint?
No.
Yeah.
All the questions are hints.
Can I? Okay. All right.
You can ask
fine.
yes or no questions.
Okay.
And you can play the game.
All right. I'm not a bear. Am I a playable character?
No.
Oh, that's messed up, guys.
It's a
Wait,
I,
it's not a bear, right?
no.
Okay, I got that right.
I can reassure you that you know this.
Devin
character.
knows
do
this.
know
You
this.
better than
definitely
I do.
know this character.
Okay.
We didn't pick anybody that you wouldn't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna come at. Am I really fast?
Yes.
man, lose.
All right, Rachel. Hail Mary. Hail Mary.
You got this.
Oh no. Okay. Dang. Am I in the game series Banjo-Kazooie?
No.
No? I'm genuinely not.
Am
Who
I
are you, Devin?
Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, who am
Hold
I?
on.
Let's give her a big hint.
Yeah.
Give me a big
Yeah.
hint.
You own a store.
Oh, am I Toad?
Oh, that's actually a pretty good guess, but no, you're not Toad. You
collect rent.
you collect rent all the
Oh,
time.
am I Tom Nook?
You're Tom Nook.
Okay.
That was a good hint.
Making me a
You
landlord.
collect rent. Ty won.
Good job, Ty.
Hats off to Ty.
What was that? 2 questions?
That was
3 questions?
Woman,
Human-
bounty
hunter.
Bounty
That
hunter.
was too
Does
easy.
bounty hunter really count because you had it by
Yeah,
bounty hunter?
that's true.
Well, I
yeah.
didn't want to get skipped.
All right,
Fair,
yeah, true.
yeah,
All right, round
fair
2.
enough.
You guys
Okay,
ready?
yeah.
Ready for round 2? Do
Ready.
we have time for round 2, Miss Producer?
We sure do.
All right, round 2.
All right.
Winner goes first. You get to kick it off.
Remind me who
Uh,
Devin's round 2 is.
Watch out.
Did you remember Rachel's round 2?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Am I human?
Yep.
Oh wow.
You shouldn't have made them all human. Am I human?
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Am I human?
Nope.
Nope.
Again? Dang it.
Maybe we were being
You
really
don't
mean
play
to
it.
Rachel.
We were so-
If she loses again, we were way too mean. All right, go Ty.
Am I a boy?
Yes.
Okay.
Am I a boy?
Definitely not.
No.
Okay. I'm a human. I'm not a boy.
Okay. Am I a boy?
No.
Nope.
No. Okay.
Am I an adult?
Yes.
It's your turn.
Oh, it is my turn. I'm a human. I'm not a boy. Am I royalty?
Yes.
Yes.
I think I got it.
That was so fast.
All right, I'm a human. I'm a girl.
Yeah.
Yep. You're not a human.
What?
You're
Oh, right.
not
I'm not a human.
You're not
I'm
a human.
girl. Okay. And do I... Really bad at questions. Am I in the Animal Crossing franchise?
No.
Okay.
Let's see. So I am.
You gonna swing for the fence and try to beat me?
I don't really think I can. I am an adult.
Mhm.
I am human,
Yep.
and I am a boy.
Yep.
Do
You're a
I
big
wield
kid.
a sword?
Yes.
You guys so good at this.
The
Did
questions.
you see the post-it
Am
notes?
I Princess Peach?
I quit in a big
I was
way.
hoping you were
Yeah.
gonna guess Zelda.
I really thought you would guess Zelda.
Nope.
Mario.
Mario.
Okay.
I'll always start with
I'm
Mario.
a human. I'm not a human.
She's not gonna remember. She doesn't even know what the question is.
No. Okay. Am I in a Mario game?
Nope.
No. Man, just screw
am I
me,
in-
I guess.
Huh?
Am I Link?
No,
Oh,
you're
no, you're
not.
not.
Oh.
And now you
Okay.
get skipped.
Rachel's
Rachel, you get
back
2
in the
questions.
game.
Back.
Okay. Not in a Mario game. Am I in the Zelda franchise?
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
You get another question.
Am I in the game? Am I Sheik? No, I'm not human. I'm
We'll-
so
We'll let you
stupid.
start over with that. You really are hung up.
I'm
We'll-
really
we'll go
latched
through it.
on
You're not a
to
human.
human.
You're not a boy. You're in Zelda.
Do I speak?
Yes.
Yes.
I do,
Yeah.
You-
Yes, you do.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes, you
Yeah.
do.
but I'm not human. Oh, I think I know who I am.
Let's see.
Okay.
So I'm an adult man with a sword.
Yep.
Am I in the Legend of Zelda?
No.
Oh.
Am I that annoying chick that he has to carry around?
Oh, Rudo?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
That I'm gonna count that as
That's
a
a
guess.
guess, yeah.
So you get 2 guesses. Ty.
Am I in the Fire Emblem franchise?
Nope.
Wait, what? An adult man with a sword. And I'm not in Zelda or Fire Emblem.
Nope.
Am I in the Final Fantasy franchise?
You are. Rachel, your turn.
Okay. A non-human speaking female in the Zelda franchise.
In the Zelda franchise. Not Rudo.
Not Rudo. Oh,
Before you take another wild stab, I would recommend collecting more information on the character.
no. Okay.
Details, like-
Am I in the Ocarina of Time game?
You are.
Yes.
Ah.
Am I Cloud Strife?
Oh, you got
Dang
it. You got it. Good job.
Good.
Do you want to keep going and see if you can get it?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
close. You're so close.
Am I I don't know names, unfortunately.
That's okay.
Just describe the character and we'll tell you.
Are we counting Gerudo as human?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they are. They are a tribe
I'm counting. I'll
of
say it this. I'm
humans.
counting like humanoid. So like a Hylian's not a human thing. I'm not
that's a
doing
good
that.
point.
I'm not doing that.
That's a good
If
point.
I said you're human, you look human.
Okay.
If you're a Vulcan, I'm still counting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you count Zora as human?
No. They're fish people.
They look like
They walk.
They got fish heads.
That's true. That's true. All right, keep going, Rachel.
Okay.
You can get this one.
I can get this one. Am I royalty?
No.
No. Am I... Oh, am I Navy?
You got
are.
it. Yeah. You're Navi the fairy. Good job. Good
That was a
job.
good one. That was good.
That was a good one.
That
All
was fun.
right. So, do you want to do a tiebreaker?
No, not really.
Okay, no
Yeah.
tiebreaker. Me and Ty are tied for one.
We'll do a
Good.
tiebreaker some other episode.
Some other
Find out
episode.
who the reigning king
Yeah,
is.
the next time
How
nobody
did
shows
you get
up.
Princess Peach
well,
that fast? It's because female. No more women in
No
video games,
more women.
guys. No
Female
more women.
characters are a dead
I don't know.
giveaway.
Rachel
more
had
Unless you
a,
give
had
it
a
to
girl.
me.
Yeah.
In which case...
I do think it really throws you off if you really want to do a harder one, which clearly we just flexed that we have a lot of game knowledge.
Yeah.
Do non-human. Rachel.
do non-human.
Yeah, it took me a while to get to Sonic,
Honestly,
and it took Rachel.
that has more to do with like the games we know, because there are plenty of female video game characters and
Yeah.
plenty of human video game characters. Just maybe not from like classical Nintendo.
Yeah. No, no games exist
Nintendo is
outside.
sexist.
No games exist outside
And
of.
specious.
We're just gonna steamroll over what Ty's saying. No, if we don't play it, it's not important.
I
so.
mean, if we don't play it, it's a little unfair to make us that.
no, that's
character,
fair.
Right? Like
if I was like, you're Cortana from Halo,
Cortana. If I had made
That's not
I'd
fair.
made Rachel Cloud Strife, that wouldn't have been.
We'd
very
still be
fair.
playing,
We'd still be playing.
tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I'd still be guessing.
Yeah.
We were
crying.
Devin and I were standing in the kitchen, like trying to come up with characters, and he's like, "We got to pick a game Rachel knows really."
yeah, it wouldn't be
well."
fair if it was like a game you didn't know at all.
Yeah.
I would know nothing
Yeah.
about the characters.
Yeah.
And I was like, "We're talking about Ocarina of Time. Let's pick.
Yeah, let's
somebody
pick-
from
yeah,
Ocarina
let's
of
pick
Time."
Navi.
Smart
So-
man. He
Picked-
knows his sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Devin picked. No, wait, I pipicked Animal Crossing, and you picked Ocarina. Of
Yeah,
Time. That's
you
what it
picked that was good, and I was like,
That's
let's
what it
go with
was.
like the
The
Animal
two big
Crossing
ones.
character,
Yeah.
Tom Nook,
Yeah.
yeah. But that was 64 questions,
That
guys.
was
Yeah.
64 questions.
If you
We got
made
it in less.
If you made it to this far in the episode, put the little female symbol in the
Mhm.
comments
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there aren't enough
'Cause there's
female
not enough.
characters.
Not enough
in
female
the
I thought
characters.
maybe you were gonna like go for the low blow and make it Princess Daisy, and then I'd be like Princess Peach, and you're like no. And then when it comes back and it's Princess Peach or Princess Daisy, I'd be like, really?
I picked these
Really?
characters.
That's
so
true.
I'm not that.
That's true.
The funniest thing
knowledgeable.
was that with Sonic the Hedgehog, he's been in the Mario Sonic Olympic games.
That was a tricky
That's
one,
true.
yeah.
And so when you said Mario, have I been in Mario games? I was like, I would feel bad just saying yes, but I'd also feel kind of bad just saying no.
Yeah, you should have
Yeah.
been more mean and said yes because
I
I left
should've.
it too broad.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was
when you
kinda
because when
broad.
I said Mario Kart, which technically he does have a costume in Mario Kart 8.
That's not
A me
him,
costume.
unless you want to say he got skin for that.
And on that note, thank you guys for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Bye bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Come back next time,
Bye.
same bat channel.